Guys, I've done too many videos on Jodi Arias.
Oh, here we go again.
Do you know why? Because a lot of the videos on this channel are where I cover true crime cases that have some form of media attached to them. Because Jodi Arias will not stop doing interviews.
Let me in. Let me in.
Right after you were arrested, you said, my goodness, if I did something this horrible to Travis, I would beg for the death penalty.
Right.
You did it, so what changed?
Before the murders and after, the girl cannot stop talking.
Up on that stand accusing him of abusing you and being a pedophile and all sorts of terribly awful things. What does that say about the kind of person that you are?
That I was truthful.
But you know no one believes you, right?
That's not true.
It's crazy. Now, you're not gonna believe this. Actually, you're 100% gonna fucking believe this. There are Jodi Arias interviews that I had never seen before. But there was one today that shocked me so much. If you're not super familiar with this channel, a lot of times, literally 98% of the times, I find interesting videos or things from the true crime sphere and I watch them with you guys on a live stream. My producers pre-screen them to make sure there's nothing overly graphic in it. And then I watch them with you for the first time. So I have found these. I think they're interesting. I know a little bit about what's in them, but this is the first time that I'm seeing it with you. I know a lot of you guys are already familiar with the Jodi Arias case. You all that are not as familiar with it, Jodi Arias was a woman that, okay, here's my biased take on it, but she was convicted and I've seen so many interviews, it's crazy. Jodi was obsessed with this guy named Travis Alexander. Travis was extremely religious, wasn't supposed to have sex before marriage. He and Jodi were in anyways because she was trying to lock it down. She was trying to secure it. And Travis is like, you know what? I'm like not really super feeling this. And Jodi was like, no, you're gonna love me. And Jodi was doing crazy shit. One day when Travis locked the door, she came in through the doggy door. That's right. Jodi Arias came in through the doggy door because he didn't want to see her that night. Eventually, he ends up planning a trip with another woman. Jodi finds out, drives to his house under the guise of wanting to see him one last time, and she kills him. But in the process, he was taking a shower and she was taking photos of him in the shower, and she literally took photos of her killing him. Like she was holding the camera to take a picture of him, and then she lunged in, dropping the camera with the knife, and the camera is taking photos as it falls. She was so sure. She said several times, no jury will ever convict me, da-da-da-da. Anyways, listen, if you're not familiar with it, you might have to just do the whole Jodi playlist because it's a mess. Okay, sorry. That's my whole Jodi summary. This is Jodi Arias leaving the courtroom right after her sentencing, okay? So this isn't just her guilty verdict. This is also her finding out that she's going to jail for life. And remember, Jodi said, no jury will ever convict me. This is her reaction. Did you know that you could be eating stress-free with Factor's delicious ready-to-eat meals? Ready in just 2 minutes. They have a weekly menu of over 35 options. They have, the chef's choice, which is just all of their signature meals. They also have the keto friendly, they have calorie smart, they have veggie friendly. There's a lot of different options. And, honestly, you get a little variety with the meals. They don't taste much different. I'm still doing calorie smart while getting all the tasty, tasty nutrients that I love. You know why? Because they're chef prepared meals. And look, I say this all the time. My favorite part is I don't want to do any dishes. I don't ever want to do a dish again. All I have to do is pull out a fork, put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and afterwards throw the fork in the sink. No plates, no pots, no pans, and no difficult decisions. And by difficult decisions, I mean, look, when you're trying to figure out what you're going to cook or eat for the evening, it takes a little energy out of you. After 5 o'clock, I don't want to make a single decision. I want to open up the fridge and grab a Factor meal. And Factor plans are flexible. You can pause your orders, you can restart them week over week, whatever you need, and you can change it all on the fly within the website. So you can head to factor75.com/50BOZE, and you can use my code to get 50% off of your first box and then 20% off of your next box as long as your subscription is still active. And look, if you've tried Factor before and you're thinking about just renewing it, you should still use my code. It's factor75.com/50BOZE. That's right. 50% off the first box and 20% off the next 4, as long as your subscription is still active. Okay, back to the video.
Can you give me a reaction to the verdict, Jodi? Is there anything you want to say to the Alexander family at all?
She loved that camera before. Didn't she, y'all? She sure did. I ain't never seen Jodi cover up her face for nothing before.
Can you tell me about your plans for what you're going to do behind bars for life?
For life! Can you tell me about your plan of what you're going to do behind bars for life? Bye, Jodi. Now, that's just to catch you up to speed. But look, you've probably never seen that video before, huh? The amount of stuff on Jodi Arias is just so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, sure, I could do a mega compilation video on all of this, but you know what? It's so much funner just breaking it up into multiple videos over the course of 3 years whenever I get really excited. Okay? I need you to brace yourself for this one. This is a video that comes from Jodi Arias' ex-cellmate, but what she discloses in this video is gonna blow your mind.
Her former cellmate is speaking out, detailing for the first time Jodi Arias' life behind bars.
She's a sociopath.
Tracy Brown was Jodi's cellmate for 5 months, but has a permanent reminder of the killer. 6 tattoos, personally inked by Jodi. One even has her name on it.
That is a personality trait for me, that Jodi, with her cellmate of 5 months, was like, let me ink you up, girl. The tattoo of her own name, absolutely insane. Imagine your tattoo artist suggests getting his name tattooed on you. These are all Jodi. That's right. The skull with horns, fangs, and devil rings over the Celtic armband. But wait, there's more.
How does that make you feel to have her name on your ankle?
That was the biggest mistake I ever made. This is crushed up lead.
Tracy showed me how Jodi used lead from a pencil, mascara, and a makeshift needle to tattoo other inmates. That's how Jodi made extra money in jail, along with selling her original artwork.
She's so talented.
Tracy has kept some of her hand-drawn pieces. The ex-cellmate says Jodi flirted with...
Yeah, she used lead in people's bodies and mascara to tattoo people. You know, I never believe random chatters, but for some reason, I believe Rooted here. Rooted said, it's not real lead, it's graphite. Still sounds pretty bad to me, but I'll take that correction. Thank you.
The ex-cellmate says Jodi flirted with correctional officers, which is how she was able to keep all of the prohibited equipment she needed for her tattoos.
There were a couple officers, she would flirt with and fly her hair with, and they would find the tattoo equipment, things you can get in trouble for. Leave it alone.
Tracy Brown says while she and Jodi Arias were cellmates here at the Estrella jail in Phoenix, Arizona, Jodi Arias actually confessed to murder, but claimed her ex-boyfriend was not the intended target.
She went there hoping to find this other woman and kill her. Because she took her place.
Before his murder, Travis Alexander had been dating Lisa Daydone while continuing to secretly have sex with Arias. Tracy says Arias confessed during a quiet moment in their cell.
I'm just watching her, and she kind of goes down to her knees on the floor. And I was looking at her, I said, what are you talking about? And she started crying, just a couple tears coming out of her eyes. And then it was done.
Tracy says Arias also admitted to stalking her ex-boyfriend in his backyard.
She said she would lie awake in bushes and watch him. And if she was ever caught, she would tell him she was there to get her Social Security card.
The ex-cellmate also claims that Jodi...
Also, reminder, Travis he ended things with Jodi several times. Friends and family knew that Jodi was essentially not even essentially stalking him. Friends and family of Travis knew that she would not give up on this relationship, or it really wasn't even much of a relationship. They met at a random conference. He was Mormon, so he was actually dating another woman. And Jodi had converted to the religion while still having sex with him, which he felt guilty about, so that she could be like, look, I'm part of your religion. We should date now. And just nobody was buying it. After the murders, when Jodi was arrested and going to trial, the media reached out to her family. And when they spoke with Jodi's parents, you know what they told the media? Jodi was always a strange kid. There was no, oh, we love our daughter. She would never do this. We're grieving right now. They went to the media and they said that she was weird.
The ex-cellmate also claims that Jodi Arias has a troubled relationship with her parents, even though they supported her during her trial and appeal.
We love our daughter, we support her, and we stand behind her.
She was so mean to her mom.
I've never seen this video before in my life. Hold on. I need to go find that article right now where they say she was weird. Jodi Arias parents. Parents of Jodi Arias said in police interview that their daughter had, quote, mental problems and would freak out all the time. I had quite a few of her friends call me and tell me that I needed to get her some help. I need to find this other one too. Hold on. This other one says, Will Arias told Flores that his daughter was, quote, a strange person. After she left the house, she kind of just got a little strange.
In bushes and watch him. And if she was ever caught, she would tell him she was there to get her social security card.
The ex-cellmate also claims that Jodi Arias has a troubled relationship with her parents, even though they supported her during her trial and appeal.
We love our daughter, we support her, and we stand behind her.
She was so mean to her mom. Coming all the way from California to Arizona, you know, it's a long trip. And there's at times she'll deny their visits because she wants to visit with a guy that she is manipulating.
The friendship between the two
Bitch, that is f***ing tea. That is tea that you cannot get anywhere else. Jodi Arias would deny her parents' visitation in order to get visits with guys when her mom would drive all the way from Arizona to California.
There's at times she'll deny their visits because she wants to visit with a guy that she is manipulating.
The friendship between the two ex-cellmates continued for a time, even after Tracy's release. This is one of the many letters Arias wrote to her.
Tracy, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height of my soul can reach.
The defendant shall be incarcerated in the
Crazy letter to send somebody that you've known for 5 months.
Department of Corrections for the rest of her natural life.
But after she was given a life sentence in 2015, Jodi Arias was transferred to state prison and abruptly cut off all communication.
You think all this is lies?
Garbage. She will use you to get what she wants.
I believe it.
And when she's done with you, she will throw you away.
That girl must have trusted her to let her put all them damn tattoos up and down her arm. Can you guys tell? This is just a collection of extra Jodi Arias media. That's why I was just like, this is a Jodi Arias hate video. I've got one more for you. Okay, so in 2013, a guy named Mark Curtis did an interview with Jodi Arias, and this was while she was still on trial. I actually thought this was after the verdict, but it was still before. Okay, let's take a look.
Regardless of what happens with the jury, you're going to have to deal with the fact for the rest of your days, however long.
Guys, look, I'm a hater, but Jodi is so pretty. Just go anywhere else. Like, do y'all, I always say this in videos, like whenever we're covering a case where the person is like super pretty, I'm like, just go not kill people. Like, follow the rules. You could find a husband. You gonna be fine. Like, you been in jail for like 8 years. You ain't had no makeup, no nothing. You look nice. You look good. Go. Like, you have to be kidding me. You have to be kidding me, bro.
Neck of being a murderer. Regardless of what happens with the jury, you're going to have to deal with the fact for the rest of your days, however long that is, that you killed someone. How hard is that going to be, and how hard is it for you to deal with that?
It makes me feel very ugly inside. And I know that that was just one day, but I feel like even though it shouldn't, it's going to define the rest of my life and maybe beyond.
Jodi is upset that killing someone makes her feel ugly inside, and that the murder is going to define her life forever, even though it was, quote, just one day. That's how Jodi Arias sees this murder.
So it's very difficult. It's something that I haven't processed, or I haven't really dealt with, or it's something that's difficult to face even still. So it's something I'm going to be trying to process probably till my last day.
Do you think the time will come when you can forgive yourself for what you did?
I think I may get there.
You've talked about spirituality a lot. and you've said you've prayed for the jury. Are you a religious person?
I have never heard anything as manipulative in a court case as I'm praying for the jury. That's up there. That is up there, baby. It's up there because she said it in the press. She said it in the press.
I'm not deeply religious at this point. I still consider myself spiritual.
Do you believe in heaven and hell?
Yes.
And if you do believe in heaven and hell, where do you think you're going? And can you deal with, if you think you're going to hell, can you deal with that? Or do you not think you would be going there?
I don't know if I believe in hell in the traditional sense that a lot of people do. I do believe that I believe in forgiveness, and I believe in mercy, and I believe in second chances.
Dude, this is so corny of me, but Scotsman said she's religious when it suits her. And yeah, she is. You guys know, a lot of you guys know, I grew up in the church. I don't follow the religion anymore, but like, you know, I still have a bit of reverence for it. But one thing that I do not like is I do not like bad Christians. Half the reason that Christianity has bad taste in my mouth is because of motherfuckers like this. They want to wear religion and Christianity and purity as a mask to get what they want and actively deceive people in day to day as though their character is so good and kind and Christian so that they can go do bad things. There are people that will show up in the church and smile in your face every day because it's easy. It's easy to be in that location at a certain time. She's being a fake nice person to get something from you, which is she wants you to buy her story so she can have her freedom.
I do believe that going to heaven, or the opposite of what hell would be, is something that needs to be earned.
Can you then, in your final days on this earth, earn that, do you think? Do you believe in redemption?
Well, when I say earned, I should probably clarify. I think that grace comes in, and there's no way.
Holy. He asked her if she can earn her redemption by her final days on earth. That requires Jodi to be fully in control of being a good person and doing things to earn the forgiveness. But instead, her response is, well, one facet of that is grace, which requires you. She's taking all of the responsibility and all of the activity that needs to be done to earn that off of herself and saying, well, I can't do it without your grace. She ain't gonna do shit. She ain't gonna do shit to earn that redemption. She just wants you to forgive her. Bitch.
Can you then, in your final days on this earth, earn that, do you think? Do you believe in redemption?
Well, when I say earned, I should probably clarify. I think that grace comes in, and there's no way that I could possibly make up entirely for what I've done. So all I can do is do what I can, and the idea is that grace fulfills the rest, makes up for the rest.
No.
Do you think, when we're talking about forgiveness, that Travis's family will ever forgive you?
No.
It's hard to imagine that they will.
No, because after she murdered him because he was trying to get away from her, in his death, she called him a pedophile and an abuser. There was no history, no record of this. Instead, Jodi preyed on people that had been abused as children or had dealt with pedophiles or violent relationships. And she preyed on people's sympathy that have actually been through those things to call the man that she murdered the worst possible things in death. Travis's family will never forgive her. They will never, ever, ever forgive her.
I hope that they're able to someday. I don't know what their religious beliefs are. But I know that Christian-based faiths and the Mormon faith, which Travis was Mormon, I'm baptized Mormon, it's required that we forgive in order to be forgiven. So I also read once a church authority had said that sometimes when you're so angry, you're not able to forgive. that it's enough to ask for the grace to be able to one day forgive, even if you can't get there. I don't even know if they're at that point. I wouldn't expect them to be.
Part of my interview last night with Jodi Arias talking about redemption and remorse and her hopes that one day Travis Alexander's family can find a way to forgive her. They certainly haven't done it yet. They want justice here at this courthouse.
Well, they were about to get it because Jodi, God. And then, guys, get this. There's like, as I'm looking at this video, there are 6 other Jodi Arias interviews I've never seen. One-on-one interview with Jodi Arias's lawyer, Jodi Arias interview with ABC, Jodi Arias interview with Amy Murphy, like Jodi Arias confident interview, Jodi Arias childhood best friend speak. I'll never run out. I'll never, ever run out. But speak of the devil is Jodi. Juan Martinez answers questions about murderer Jodi Arias. If you guys didn't know, Juan Martinez was the prosecutor that put Jodi Arias away. And if you haven't seen that video, whether it's my video or the full video, you got to see it because I really have to say Juan Martinez did beautiful work putting Jodi away because that girl was not going down easy. She really wasn't. Now, some people have a bad taste in their mouth over Juan Martinez because years later he was disbarred because somebody said that he was flirting around the office and trying to talk to girls or something. There's some, controversy with that, with one person saying that like some past lawyer was trying to get him disbarred because they didn't like him because he was too intense. Some people say that it's not necessarily true. Some people say it's 100% true. But I wanted to let you guys know that before we watch a little of the interview, because at the end of the day, personally, I love good prosecution. I love people putting in the work on their legal team. And Juan Martinez really put in the work when he put Jodi Arias away. So I do want to see a little of this interview where he talks about how he cornered her when she was ready to take the stand and lie about anything and everything. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so I guess this is kind of about his book, but it has some information, like these little chapters here. One of them says, how did you use the gas cans to corner Jodi Arias? And then what was Jodi's reaction? Tell us about the secret messages Jodi wrote from her jail cell. Give me the smoke.
Everyone had already seen
Can you guys hear it okay?
in court. But as with everything else, there's another part to the story, and that part was what I had brought to the courtroom. There were many decisions that I undertook, and I thought that it would be interesting to people who had actually watched the trial to find out what it was that I was thinking when I did these things. For example, why is it that I included some things in opening statement and not other things? For example, the gas cans, I kept them out of the opening statement, even though they were obviously very beneficial.
I don't know about the gas cans. What are the gas cans? Also, if you have not seen it before, Juan Martinez's opening statements is one of the best that I have seen in a while. It's for sure in my top 3 of all time. It was captivating. It had a good timeline. It was vicious. And it let Jodi know from the beginning when she was going to take the stand that she was not getting off easy and she better be ready to put up a fucking fight. It was good. It was really good.
After Jodi Arias claimed that she had been attacked by Travis and that she had been forced to kill him in self-defense, I started looking through the rest of the documents that I had, and I came across a report that indicated that she had called an ex-boyfriend shortly before the trip asking to borrow 2 gas cans. It seemed an innocuous enough request, but to me, it seemed that California has enough gas stations so that carrying or wanting to borrow gas cans seemed to have another meaning to it or have another purpose for her. As I looked further into the case, I came across a Walmart receipt. And in that Walmart receipt, I was able to find that she had actually bought a 3rd gas can so that at her disposal, she had 3 5-gallon gas cans for a total of 15 gallons. As I looked further into the case, I realized that the reason that she wanted this extra gasoline, this extra 15 gallons, was so that she could make her way through the Arizona desert from California without having to stop at a gas station, so there would be no record of her ever being here in Arizona.
That is crazy. Jodi turned off her cell phone when she drove up there to kill Travis. Yet people get caught when they stop at gas stations for gas. So her plan was to have these gas cans so she can make it there and back and no one would know. This is good legal work. And he was in there. This man, the way he's recounting it, he didn't just have paralegals doing it. He was up in there, okay?
No videotape, and there would be no receipts because she had the gasoline that she needed to make the trip.
Wow. Wow!
When I confronted her
Oh my God.
with the 2 gas cans that she had borrowed from the ex-boyfriend, she had already heard the ex-boyfriend testify and tell me that he had lent her those 2 gas cans. So she had some time to prepare an answer for that. What she didn't know was that I had already gone and checked with Walmart and found that she had actually borrowed a 3rd gas can. So at the latest opportunity, when she was still testifying, I asked her, why is it then that if you claim that you only had 2 gas cans, why is it that you filled up 3 gas cans in Salt Lake City?
So Jodi Arias testified. She took the stand in her own trial because she really thought that she was going to convince people she didn't do it. So what Juan is saying here is Jodi knew that they were going to ask about the 2 gas cans, but she didn't think that they knew that she bought a 3rd one at Walmart. So he didn't ask her until she was on the stand towards the end.
Why is it that you filled up 3 gas cans in Salt Lake City? In her face, for probably the only time throughout the trial, there was a look that indicated that she was caught, that somehow she finally, for one thing, didn't have an answer. After a pause, she then sort of turned, answered my question and said, well, I was never in Salt Lake City, which I knew wasn't true because I had the receipts to prove it.
Tell us about the secret messages Jodi
in
wrote for
anticipation
herself.
of a hearing that we had to determine whether or not letters that had been provided to me by defense counsel indicating or supporting her self-defense claim, I was at the jail and I was sitting there with a officer. And as I sat there, I noticed that one of the people that visited her often was coming in. Arias immediately asked the guard to transfer or give her 2 magazines. And looking through the magazines, the jailers were able to see that in some of the creases, there were some messages. And those messages were directed to somebody on the outside, indicating that they had, there's an expletive, indicating that they had messed up and that they needed to come and see her immediately so they could get this thing straightened out because he or she contradicted whatever story Arias had been telling for the past year.
What? So she was sending people messages through magazines and like threatening them? This is about the gas cans. This is that moment we just talked about where he pushes her on it.
I purchased it. Starbucks is in the same parking lot. I think I went there and then I returned it after that.
So this guy is Jodi's defense.
You returned that gas can the same day.
Yes, right after Starbucks. I think they just handed me cash or something. I might have gotten a receipt. I don't remember. I got the two gas cans that I took on that trip. I got from Daryl, and then I bought the 3rd one, and then I determined I didn't need it, and I returned it. I had a 3rd can when I originally purchased one in Salinas. I returned it before leaving Salinas. First, I didn't have 3 gas. I didn't have 3 gas cans. I believe we were discussing a hypothetical if I had 3 gas cans. I only had 2 anyway. So there were never 3 on that trip. I only had 2 gas cans with me.
I like how she's admitting to having the 2 gas cans, but like, why, right? Like, she's not saying why. And the reason that Juan provides makes so much sense.
And one of the things that you told us was that you're going to tell the truth, the whole truth throughout this proceeding. Do you remember that when you took the oath?
Yes, to the best of my recollection.
Am I asking you to the best of your recollection that you took the oath, ma'am?
Objection, argumentative, Judge.
Sustained.
Ma'am, do you remember standing in front of the clerk to Judge Stevens' left and being sworn in? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And do you remember being asked, will you tell the truth, the whole truth. Do you remember being told that?
Oh my God,
Yes.
you on.
And you swore that you would, right?
Yes.
So why is it then? Why is it then, ma'am, that you showed up with 3 gas cans in Salt Lake City?
Objection is characteristic testimony.
To answer the gas can question, I went to Mesa with 2 gas cans.
Ma'am, if you take this amount per gallon, $3.859 $3.859 per gallon, and you divide it into this amount of 1965, do you know what that division would indicate?
No.
Would it surprise you that it would indicate that it's 5.09? Would that surprise you?
No.
So, you make 3 purchases here, don't you?
Oh my God.
Yes.
There are 2 purchases.
Bitch, do you see now why I said that Juan Martinez was eating down this trial? It's his approach. Like, he is not playing with her, and I love it. I love it. I love it, okay? Listen, I know some people are like, we don't like him because he was disbarred, okay? We're not talking about the person. We're talking about, did he do his job that day? This job was done. He brought the math out.
3 purchases. So, you make 3 purchases here, don't you?
Yes.
There are 2 purchases for sure that we know that are for gas, right?
That's correct.
The other one is for 1965, right?
Yes.
If we do the mathematics, that equals 5 gallons of gas. If you were putting gas.
Objection argumentative is there's no testimony that it was gas purchased.
Would it surprise you to find that on that, and you said that you got a refund in cash, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Would it surprise you that Walmart does not have any record of any refund for a gas can on that date of June 3rd of 2008?
Considering that I returned it, that would surprise me.
My name is Amanda Webb. I work for Walmart.
Oh my God. Help me. Oh, all right. Let it play.
My name is Amanda Webb. I work for Walmart.
Bring it, Amanda.
And which Walmart do you work for?
I work for the store in Salinas, 2458. It's on North Main Street.
And are you also familiar with the...
Now remember, that is the Walmart that she bought the gas cans from, because that's what the receipt says. She would essentially return it to the same Walmart, okay? So here's the employee. Amanda?
Procedure or the process.
It's on North Main Street.
And are you also familiar with the procedure or the process involved in a return of merchandise from Walmart?
Yes.
You recognize this as a Walmart receipt?
I do.
And is this a receipt that was issued by the store that you're currently working at?
It is, yes.
And if we look down here, for example, this 5G, which is, let's assume 5 gallon, there's a bunch of numbers here. Is that the SKU number that we're talking about?
That is the SKU number, yes.
Yep.
Once they match those up, they'll have some sort of documentation on that paper on the receipt, the original receipt that the customer actually retains after. Generally, they cross out the item that they have been returning or circle it, and they always put like an initial next to that.
When looking at this exhibit that we're talking about, exhibit 237.008, based on this particular process that you're talking about, since nothing's crossed out, circled, or there's no initials, was anything refunded involving this?
I would say no.
All right.
There is human error, but I would say no.
So then what happens?
At that point, they will process it through the computer system, and the customer will get their money. They have to sign another sheet of paper with their signature on it, and they'll get their original receipt back with the documentation that item's been returned. And we do that so that they can't go with the same item to another store and return it again.
Did you check each and every single cash register, including the ones that don't normally give refunds, to see what refunds were given on that particular day?
Yes.
Was that returned at this terminal number 3?
No.
How about this one, number 4 at the top? Were there any returns there?
There was not.
Number 5, was anything returned there?
No, there was nothing returned.
Register 76?
No.
Register 77, any return?
Bitch, Jodi said, oh, I didn't have that because I returned it. And Juan said, okay, I'm going to bring in a Walmart employee and all of the receipts from the entire business that day, including yours. Someone in chat said a minute ago that half of being a lawyer seems like it's just being petty. And I maybe that's what it is to be a good attorney. I would love to have a petty attorney. I want you to be so petty that I need to know what happened in your childhood, okay? I love petty men. I love dramatic men. I'm like, yes, bring it. Bring the drama, sir. I love it.
Turns on that one.
No, there was nothing returned.
Does anybody else love petty men? Like when you're talking to a guy and you know that like he wants to hear the drama, or like he says something sometimes that you're like, oh, you're different. I love
Register 76?
No.
Register 77. Any returns on that one?
No.
So after your review of all of the registers, after your review of whatever computer's work may have been done there, and after a review of Exhibit 237.008, was this 5-gallon can that we now know as a can of gas, was it ever returned for a refund on June 3rd of 2008?
It was not, and I actually researched that SKU number specifically for about a week.
And even during that week and a half from June 3rd to when you found this item being purchased, did you ever find any indication whatsoever in the records that this item had ever been refunded ever at the Salinas store?
Not in the time frame I searched it. No, it had not been refunded.
So what they are saying is when you purchase something, you know, the barcode, the long number on it, that's an SKU number. She's saying that I searched this entire product number in our entire store, in our database, and this product has not been returned. No one has ever returned this gas can, or like in the last couple of weeks or months. It hasn't happened. Like, Jodi, like, and this is such an important moment because he is proving that Jodi is a liar and willing to lie on the stand. And damn, now I'm still thinking hard about what that girl said earlier. I think Jodi was trying to date that cellmate.
Records that this item had ever been refunded ever at the Salinas store?
Not in the time frame I searched it. No, it had not been refunded.
I don't have any other questions.
Cross-examination.
Oh, what's Jodi's attorney gonna do? How is he gonna?
Your name, please?
Chelsea Young.
And who do you work for?
Tesoro.
What do you do for them?
Arm day, bitch. Go off. Go off, dude. I want to see a scene where she fights Laura Croft, okay?
Data.
And who do you work for?
Tesoro.
What do you do for them?
The record keeping, accounting data, credit card data, every kind of sale that happens inside and outside the store. We have records of every transaction inside and outside at every station.
What is the date that this says?
Oh my God. Dova said, didn't check them guns at the door, I see. Before she came in the courtroom. Bro, shut up.
That this
inside and outside at every station.
What is the date that this says that this transaction was approved?
June 6, 2008.
And the individual whose card was involved?
Jodi Arias.
And the last 4 digits of the card she used was what?
2015.
If we then compare it to this 237.016, do we see a cashier here or not?
No, this is because it has the driver ID that indicates that it was done out at the pump.
And they're both for gasoline, correct?
Correct.
This is what I'm talking about. Juan Martinez did the work. Otherwise, I think there's a strong chance that Jodi Arias would walk amongst us today. I do. Let me go back to that. So before I play this, okay, Juan has caught Jodi in a lie, and he has calculated how much gas she bought to prove that she had multiple gas cans and her car to fill up, basically. Now, they couldn't dispute this, so eventually her attorney speaks up and says, well, she bought stuff at a gas station. How do you know that's gas? There's no proof that she was buying gas. Here you go. This is some of the best work I've seen in a while. So this woman is an attendant at the gas station, I believe. Okay, here we go.
Tesoro.
What is your name, please?
Chelsea Young, accounting data. I have records of every transaction inside and outside at every station.
What is the date that this says that this transaction was approved?
June 6, 2008.
And the individual whose card was involved?
Jodi Arias.
And the last 4 digits of the card she used was what?
2015.
If we then compare it to this 237.016, do we see a cashier here or not?
No, this is because it has the driver ID that indicates that it was done out at the pump.
And they're both for gasoline, correct?
Correct.
Ma'am, did you also have a chance to see whether or not there was a...
He just proved that the card that was used to purchase something that day was used at the pump. She was buying gas. You don't buy M&Ms at the pump, okay? You don't buy a Coca-Cola at the pump. You don't pay $10 over and then go in there and pick up your Coca-Cola. You buy gas from the machine. So that's how, dude, wow, God, that is so good. I love this so much because I want somebody in the legal system to fight for people that deserve it or put bad people away this hard. That is amazing.
Done out at the pump.
It is good to be back, Kate.
And they're both for gasoline, correct?
Correct.
Ma'am, did you also have a chance to see whether or not there was a third transaction that was involved with this Tesoro?
Yes, we did find a third transaction.
Was it the same credit card that was being used here, the one that ended at 2015?
It was the same credit card.
And how much gas was purchased?
It's 5 gallons.
And what was the amount?
$19.65.
So in this case, how many transactions for gas was there?
3.
And there was initially, how many gallons of gas were purchased?
10 gallons. 10.672 gallons.
672. And then the next one was 5 gallons, correct?
Correct.
Or approximately. And then the last one under 237.017 was how many gallons?
9.583.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Cross-examination.
So if someone wanted to make a cash transaction.
Dude, Juan was prepared for that argument. And God, that was beautiful. Now he has to come up here and and try to dispute it when he wasn't expecting this at all. He had to come up with it on the fly while he was sitting in his little chair over here. So let's see what he comes up with.
Examination.
So if someone wanted to make a cash transaction, the transaction wouldn't contain their name, credit card number, and the time they did it, would it?
No, it would not.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, really trying with the reasonable doubt there. That was good. Wait, chat, can we agree that for the cross, like that was good. He gave what he had. No, he tried. He gave what he had because you can't dispute what Juan just said. You can't. But run it back. God damn it, y'all! No more running it back today. But these are such pivotal moments. I'll do it for you.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
So if someone wanted to make a cash transaction, the transaction wouldn't contain their name, credit card number, and the time they did it, would it?
No, it would not.
Thank you, ma'am.
Redirect.
But in this case, ma'am, the transaction that took place inside the store as set out in Exhibit 237.017, was that cash or was that credit?
This was credit.
And was it for items such as potato chips or other items like that, or was it for gas?
It was for gas.
And how much gas was purchased by Jodi Arias on June 6th of 2008 at 4:05 inside of this store?
Objection, beyond scope of cross.
I'm gonna cry.
What is the purchase amount here?
Objection, beyond the scope of cross.
Approach, please.
What's the amount that was paid on this credit transaction?
The question was approved.
$36.98.
I don't have any other questions.
God, we might have to just have a Saturday where we just cuddle up and watch the whole trial. It was good work. Let's watch a little bit more from his interview about his book, because I did think that was very interesting, but I don't think I want to do the full 20 minutes. Let's see what else is in here. Okay, what was your initial theory based on your first look at the crime scene? Juan, give it to us.
My on-call shift had already been completed at 8 o'clock in the morning when I received a call later that morning at 8:30. And it was a sergeant from the Mesa Police Department telling me that they had found the body of this individual. And the only thing he really knew was that the individual's name was Travis Alexander. Rather than shirk this call onto the next individual, I decided to take the call. And I went out to East Mesa. When I was allowed inside after the scene had been secured, one of the things that caught my attention and that I guess the word is impressed was that it was very clean and meticulous downstairs. But I did get upstairs, and when I did get upstairs, I was able to see that in the bathroom there had been a horrific event that had taken place. At that point, I really didn't know exactly what had happened, but one of the things that I did know was that it was throughout the bathroom. The blood was on the floor. It was.
I cannot believe that he was on the crime, at the crime scene. That is crazy.
Streaked on the walls, and Mr. Alexander had been stuffed into the shower. In looking at that, it appeared that whoever had done this was someone who was very angry and very upset, but they also had thought this thing through because they had actually taken time to clean things up. So even though there was a lot of blood and even though there was plenty of violence, it spoke to a calculated, kind of thought out killing where the individual had been methodical in their approach to ending Travis Alexander's life.
Mm.
I never get calloused to the violence that I see, and it's almost on a day-to-day basis. And that's why I continue to work at the same place that I have been for the past 27.
Okay, this next part is, what was the most damning piece of evidence? I think it might be, it's gotta be, it's the camera, right, chat? Do you guys think it's the camera or it's gonna be something else? It's gotta be the camera. It's gotta be, but I wanna hear what he thinks it is.
One of the most damning pieces of evidence was the camera. It was found by police in the washing machine. It had actually gone through the wash cycle and had been left behind. There was also bleach that had been added to the cycle when it was started. And in that camera, what police were able to find were a number or sets of photographs. There were actually 3 sets of photographs. The first set showed Arias and Mr. Alexander engaged in sexual activity. And it showed that the activity was on June 4th of 2008. And Arias, of course, claimed that she hadn't even been there on that particular date. So the police then knew that she was not telling the truth as to whether or not she was there on the day that he was murdered. But that was early in the afternoon. That was around 1:30 in the afternoon. The police were also able to find another set of photographs showing Travis Alexander in the shower. That was closer to the murder. That was around 5:30 in the afternoon, but not exactly at the time of the murder. The third set of photographs the police were able to uncover were 3 accidental or inadvertent photographs.
Wow.
Arias had been holding the camera, and at some point during the attack, the camera had dropped. And when it dropped and it hit the button so that a photograph was accidentally snapped, and it showed Arias' foot, and it showed Mr. Alexander's head as the blood streamed down his right shoulder. And it
Isn't that crazy? And Jodi never intended to take photos of him as he was dying. She just was pretending to take photos of him in the shower. But when she threw that camera in the washing machine, I don't even think that she knew those pictures of him being killed were on the camera. But she threw it in the wash with bleach and thought that it was good to go. But that memory card was locked in. It survived the wash.
It appeared that Arias was attempting to move him down the hallway. There's another inadvertent photograph that was also taken, and that is Arias but Arias pulling the body down the hallway. So that is really the piece of evidence that, if one wants to call it a mistake, that Arias made. She made a mistake in leaving that behind.
Okay, I want to skip ahead a little bit to this one. It says, what was your strategy for dealing with Jodi in court? I want to know.
One of the most difficult things about the trial was the questioning of Jodi Arias during the cross-examination. And early on, I made the decision that I was going to not let her control the courtroom as she had the media previously, where she had put out her story about
she was controlling the
not
media.
having killed Travis and no jury would convict her, and then continuing to talk to the media. Even
Jodi did a really good job of talking to the media, but she was not likable. You know, some of you might have been super, super young. I think I was like a teenager, like super, super young. But I remember this, and I do not remember the public being on her side at all. It's kind of like Casey Anthony. You know, the public did not like Casey Anthony. The public did not like Jodi Arias. They didn't believe her, you know?
after the case had already been filed. So one of the ways that I was decided that I was going to control her or control the questioning, because it's difficult to control a witness, is by making my questions very direct, and if I needed to, perhaps appear to be harsh. Had I not done that, she would have, in effect, told her story a second time if I had just asked her questions in an open-ended sort of fashion.
So true.
And of course, at that point, she would have said whatever the story was that she was going to give. So I needed to do that. It wasn't a situation where I wanted to do it. It was more of a thing that it needed to be done.
Wow.
And I knew that if I did that, that she was going to become somewhat combative. So I was prepared for that. And she was combative at points, relying on a tried and
predicting the witness's behavior accurately. Like I can't, like you can't beat it. Can't beat it.
true combative at points, relying on a tried and true excuse that she couldn't remember. That was one of the things that she said. Another one was that somehow I had done something to her brain. And another of the excuses that she gave for not answering questions was that somehow there had been a fog that had set in. So any of those were fodder for her.
Can you fucking imagine you ask somebody a question and they say, I'm sorry, some sort of fog has just set in. He's so mad.
She used them to try to thwart to thwart my cross-examination. But in the end, it came across that she was somebody who just didn't want to answer the question.
Okay, hold on. This is interesting to me. This one says, why do you like to work alone? It really does sound like he put a lot of this case on his back. I want to see what he says about this.
I work alone because that allows me to take a look at every part of the evidence and be responsible for every part of the items that are going to be presented. And for me, what that does is that allows me to make a more cohesive presentation to the jury. The jury gets used to my style, gets used to the tone of my voice. Clearly, they come in and they don't know what to expect. So if they hear, for example, that I'm being aggressive with somebody or assertive with somebody, it's something that they learn that it's not because I'm trying to be abusive. It's not that I'm trying to be hostile. It's just that I'm trying to move things along, and I want to perhaps save them some time. And I think that by working alone and being in front of them all the time, that juries and those that watch come to understand that the positions that I take and the comments that I make are made out of sincerity. They are not made just to pontificate or to present a facade as part of the prosecution. It is just that they get to know that I'm a sincere individual, and the questions that are being presented and the evidence that's being put forth for them to consider are important. And I think that the juries, by and large, and I think that judges have learned to appreciate. And so working alone allows me to move the case along quicker and allows me to, if possible, form some sort of bond, which might be too strong of a word, but at least have the jury be able to rely on something. And that's me presenting the case on a day-to-day basis.
Man, look, hey, look, I gave y'all the caveat in the beginning of the video, but I cannot deny. It sounds like good legal work to me, and I appreciate it.